Okay, so here's a wild idea for you. What if the intense, world-changing energy of a single year from the 19th century is about to happen all over again? We're talking about the year 2026, and its historical parallel is 1846.
So let's just kick things off with this question. What if the blueprint for what's about to happen was actually written 180 years ago? Now I know, it sounds a little like science fiction, but this connection isn't just random. It's actually rooted in a very rare, recurring cycle in the Chinese Zodiac. And that cycle, it's called the fire horse year. It's this rare, super high energy period that's known for sparking ambition, rapid change, and really bold moves. So this is going to be the lens we'll be using to understand the past and, well, what might be just around the corner for all of us. All right, so what exactly is this fire horse we keep talking about? Let's take a minute and really break down this concept, which is also called the red horse, because we need to understand it to see why it's set to define the energy of 2026. Okay, the number 60, this is really the key here. So you get a horse year every 12 years in the zodiac. But the combination of the horse with the fire element, that powerful combo, only happens once every 60 years. That rarity is what makes it so significant. And guess what? The next one starts on February 17th, 2026.
So what does this energy actually feel like? Well, in Chinese, the term is qi ma, which translates to red horse, and that color, red, is tied to good fortune and joy. Now take the horse's natural ambition and drive and then amplify it with the fire element. It's like pouring fuel on a fire. What you get is a year just crackling with intense passion, dynamic innovation, assertive leadership, and this incredible social momentum. It's a time that really rewards action, not sitting on the sidelines.
Okay, enough theory. Let's look at a real-world, concrete example. To really get what this energy can unleash, we have to travel back to 1846, the last fire horse year of the entire 19th century.
And wow, what a year it was. Just think about the pace of this. In May, the US declares war on Mexico. The very next month, a treaty with Great Britain literally redraws the map of North America. By September, the sewing machine gets patented, completely changing industry. And then the month after that, ether anesthesia is used, changing medicine forever. All of this is happening while the Great Famine is devastating Ireland. The pace of change was just relentless.
So let's dive a little deeper into that first big theme, redrawing the world map. We're going to compare the conflicts and the treaties from 1846 to what a lot of analysts are predicting for our own near future. And this is where the comparison gets really interesting because the contrast is just so stark. In 1846, the energy was all about expansion, right? It was driven by this idea of manifest destiny. But the predicted energy for 2026 seems to be the exact opposite, contraction. We're seeing this fracturing of global trade, rising tariffs everywhere, and a big shift toward a multipolar world where countries are pulling back and trading more within their own blocks. And to give you a sense of scale here, that 1846 expansion was immense. The U.S. acquired over 500,000 square miles of new territory. That includes what we now know as California and New Mexico. This was the central goal for President James K. Polk, and it fundamentally reshaped the entire nation. But, this whole bold move wasn't exactly a victory lap for everyone. This quote from Colonel Hitchcock, an American officer who was right there on the front lines, it just reveals these deep, deep misgivings. He basically saw the troop movements as a setup, a deliberate provocation to start a war just to grab territory. It really adds a critical, complicated layer to the official story. All right, so let's shift gears a bit. Beyond the geopolitics, 1846 was also this incredible era of transformation in science and technology. We're talking breakthroughs that completely reshaped reality. And once again, the parallels here are, well, they're pretty incredible. Back in 1846, ether anesthesia was a total game changer in medicine. Today, we're on the cusp of opioid-free drugs that could do the same for pain relief. The sewing machine industrialized production. Today, advanced robotics are doing that for manufacturing. And just like the discovery of Neptune pushed the boundaries of our universe back then, today we're using AI itself to accelerate scientific discovery. It's the same kind of revolutionary energy, just in a new form. Okay, so we've looked at the history, we've looked at the predictions. Now let's bring it back to you, to us. How can you personally navigate and even harness the intense energy of this coming fire horse year?
Because it all comes down to this, right? How do you ride the fire horse instead of letting it run away with you? This is powerful, powerful energy, and you can absolutely channel it, but it takes a strategy.
And really, this boils down to one thing: the huge difference between acting strategically versus just acting impulsively. Think back to 1846 for a second. President Polk's expansion? From his view, it was a bold strategic pivot. But from Colonel Hitchcock's perspective, it was unchecked, impulsive ambition. That's the knife edge of a firehorse here. The energy rewards focus, but that same intensity can lead to burnout. It favors building networks, but impatience can totally sabotage those connections. And yeah, bold, planned pivots can lead to massive success, but unchecked ambition, it can backfire spectacularly.
All right, so if we're going to boil this all down, what are the key takeaways for 2026? First, embrace social connection. Just like 1846 was defined by these intense social interactions on a global scale, treaties, conflicts, this energy thrives in groups, so build your networks. Second, drive your career momentum with steady, disciplined effort. Think of the sewing machine patent. That was the result of consistent work that paid off in a huge way. Third, be adaptable. The world was changing month to month in 1846, and we should probably expect a similar pace. And finally, you have to channel that intensity. Use it as fuel for your strategic goals, not for just a bunch of impulsive sprints.
And this is what I really want to leave you with. Those bold moves of 1846, they had consequences. Acquiring all that new land immediately ignited what was called a political firestorm over whether slavery would be allowed there. This whole debate, known as the Wilmot Proviso, is seen by many historians as a direct trigger for the American Civil War. So, as we stand on the edge of our own new frontiers, in AI, in bioengineering, and global trade, the question we're left with is this: what unforeseen debates, what political firestorms will our breakthroughs ignite?